Hi, it's Alaska Granny. I've made a trip to the lower 48. I've taken my grandkids on a shakedown in my RV, my Alaska Granny camper, and it's nice to be able to spend time with family, especially when we're at times of anxiety in the world. If you look at what's going on in Israel, in Gaza, in Ukraine and Russia, not to mention all of the talk in the news about China and even North Korea, it's hard to imagine what's going on in our world. There's so many things in the news that are counterproductive to living a peaceful, happy lifestyle. What we want to think about is how to have hope in a war-torn world. It may not be going on in our backyard, in our town, even in our country, but there are certainly areas of unrest, places in our nation that aren't safe, that citizens don't feel that they are safe. And so we're getting a huge rise in anxiety in people. And when you have uncertainty and then you have anxiety, you actually have poor health, because all of that weighs on your body, it weighs on your soul, it takes away the joy in your life, and it can cause us to have poor health and health complications and problems. So we want to do what we can to alleviate anxiety. And that's one of the reasons I'm a prepper, is the more prepared we are, the more we can look forward with hope and have some joy in our lives and look for some blessing every single day. Another problem with anxiety is that it spreads to others. If you look at some of these gloom and doom thumbnails and videos and news articles, and people are all like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I need to know more. And the more they go into like deep diving into some of these really stress-provoking topics, and it can lead to more anxiety. And then as more people are drawn to that information, the anxiety is spreading, which is making for a less content world, and it takes away some of our hopes and our dreams. So let's think about what we can do to alleviate that anxiety, how we can have more peace in our lives so that we can have a better quality of life. Because every day that we have is a gift. That's the only thing we can't get more of, is time. And so that's our valuable asset, our time and our health, that we want it to last as long as possible. So while we don't know where the world is going, we don't know what's happening with the economy, and we don't know what to expect next, we can prepare for the uncertainties. We know that every single day of our lives, we need to have food and water. So we can, as preppers, prepare to provide those things and have extra stockpiles of those. I was just reading where in Israel, now that they are on the brink of war, that they are suggesting that their citizens have a 4-month supply of food, because there could be supply chain issues, there could be humanitarian tragedies, there could be all kinds of problems where they can't have the food they need if you have to shelter in place, or if you can't go to the store, or if the stores are empty. You need to be able to provide for yourself. And the more you can provide for yourself, the longer you're going to be okay, that you can figure out what to do next with other bigger concerns in life. Most of us on a daily basis are not struggling with that aspect, but we are looking at rising prices. People are losing their jobs. Homes are becoming unaffordable. I know just for myself, the price of insuring my home doubled just in the last year. And I've also received notification that some of my utility bills are going to increase 28%. That's not just situational to me, that's happening to lots of people. Taxes are going up while we're receiving fewer services, simply because there aren't enough people to fill some of the jobs for who knows what. Because I was reading somewhere that people were calling the police, but there are 150 job openings in their police department in that particular area. When you look at all of the unrest we've had since 2020, it's no wonder nobody wants to be a policeman. But you can go even to McDonald's or to your pet groomer, and they can't get enough people to work either. So I don't know where the people are that used to be working, why they're not anymore, and how they're getting their income. I don't know. The price of so many things for most people is going up. We either have to scrimp and save or get more income to just keep the standard of living going that we already have. And one of the ways to provide that is to have a stockpile of things for your prepper pantry. So think about it. In an emergency situation, the first thing you want is a few days worth of open and eat food that you don't have to do anything. You can tear it open and eat it. Boxes of cereal, shelf-stable milk, little packets of crackers and cheese or tuna and chicken that you can just open it up and eat your crackers and whatever. You can have a jar of peanut butter and some other crackers and maybe some jelly. Then you can have just the simple pre-made pouched meals that you could heat up, but you don't have to, that you could tear them open and eat them. Cans of foods that you can open and eat that would be better if you could heat them up, but you don't have to. There are lots of different types of foods, from nuts to jerky, granola bars, all types of food that you can have several days worth that you could just open and eat it in all kinds of crazy emergency situations. Then you want to have at least a few weeks supply of foods that are simple to prepare. Maybe some pancake mix and some syrup that you just add water. Cans of tuna with mayonnaise and maybe pickles if you like to mix that together, that you can make a sandwich. And there are simple ways that you can even buy a biscuit mix so that you can make some bread if you don't have any. Put some bread in your freezer. Learn to make some in a bread machine. There are lots of different ways that you can provide those kinds of things. You just need to think about it. Get some instant mashed potatoes and some beef stew, or cans of roast beef that you can put together and have a nice meal. You can get a pouch of Knorr noodles or rice. You can get a can of meat. You can have a can of vegetables, and then you have an easy dinner that you could provide. If you're an individual, think about it. Maybe you need 1 or 2 cans per meal per person. And then if you have a large family, then you need to expand on that number of cans. It's not going to be 1 can is going to feed your whole family, where it might feed an individual or 2 people. So I always look at it that every extra can I have is an extra meal I might have in the future. But it wouldn't feed my entire family. It would just be, got to take care of each person. Think about that as you extrapolate out the amount of food that you need. Then when you look at some of these problems that seem to be unsolvable and so complicated and so dramatic, we can still care about others, but we can't carry the whole load. There's only so much we can do, and for much of the world there's nothing we can do. And so being overly concerned weighs down on our happiness. We want to know what's going on and be aware of it and get our news from several sources so we can determine and glean for ourselves what the actual facts are, because sorry to say that there are way over here extreme ideas, there are way over here extreme ideas, and I try to find for myself in the middle what is the actual truth and how I think it applies to what's going on. And we need to be respectful of other people's opinions. There isn't just one right answer in a complicated world. There are many points of view. There is much information to be gleaned, and while we might feel one way or the other, let's not be extremists, which causes people to hate, judge, and to cause more discontentment in the world. Let's try to be respectful of others. We can listen to their point of view, but we don't have to change our mind, and we certainly don't need to argue about it. It's an also important time to find some like-minded people, people that you care about. And that is becoming more complicated to find those that you can trust, but we can do it. And look over the list of people that you've known for a while. Maybe make a new friend and try to get to know them. Ask some questions that aren't necessarily revealing too much about you, but can help you gather information if they're going to be a like-minded person. And even if they're not, it still can give us some friendship opportunities, because loneliness plus anxiety is a disaster. So if we can reduce our anxiety and make some new friends, that's going to help us have a healthier, happier life. We may not find our soulmates, we may not find our best friends, we may not find the clan we want for our team for the apocalypse. We can take steps along the way to increase the happiness in our life and maybe help make other people's lives better too. And when you least expect it, you might find that like-minded person who's also going to be a prepper, and then you'll have built your network a little bit more. So think about your checklist for prepping. What do you need to have as far as your emergency supplies? Think it over. It doesn't cost any money to find out what are the supplies that you need, and look around your home and see if you even have some of those things and you didn't realize it. When you see an item, don't just think about how it's designed to be used. Think about all the ways that it can be used, because the more ways you figure out how to use the things you have, the more things you actually have. So be creative. That's what I try to do. For example, when I have a chance to go to the Dollar Tree, I walk up and down the aisles and look everything over and try to think about how could I use that? Do I have that? Do I need more of it? Is that something that I already have that I could use something instead? Or would this be a nice new addition that has some more uses for things that I need that I hadn't even thought about before? So be open-minded, try to be creative, then try to problem solve rather than just gather the problems of the world inward, which drives us downward into anxiety. Be a problem solver. How can I make my life better? And maybe that will help make someone else's life better too. That's what I'm working on. It can be complicated, but we can do it. There's a lot of life that can get us down, but we have to get up and get going. We also need to make sure that we are providing the things so as the world possibly becomes more dangerous, we can provide those things for our family, so it gives us the opportunity to really deal with the dramatic problems that can almost seem insurmountable. If you have your basic lifestyle going along with ease, you don't have to figure out how do I get a bottle of water, how do I get a can of food. You have those things, so then you can figure out how to deal with the bigger problem at hand. And so it's comforting to have a nice sturdy base, a foundation to your life so that you can get going and make each day the best it can be. Leave it in the comments below. How are you dealing with some of the anxieties that are happening in the world today? And what are some items that you think we might want to add to our prepper pantry or to our prepping supplies? Because the world is turning a little dangerous and there are things we might want to have we hadn't really thought about in a long, long time. I hope you'll like my video, share it with someone else you think might find it useful, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel. Yeah, there's that Teddy. Yeah. Teddy's been camping too, huh? Yeah. Teddy likes camping in Alaska Granny camper.